Chosen ones, there is a powerful reason why God has decided to keep you away for 2 days. What seems like a pause, what feels like a delay, is actually a divine strategy, crafted in the wisdom of heaven to protect, preserve, and reposition you. This is not punishment. This is protection in its rawest, most supernatural form. This message you are about to hear is divine revelation from the throne of heaven. If you are here right now, know that it is not by accident. God Himself led you here. And what you are about to receive is not just a message, it is a key that will unlock deep spiritual truths about obedience, timing, and heaven's way of shielding you from unseen disaster. You've been wondering why things have paused, why opportunities seem to vanish, why people have been pulled away. But God said, I'm protecting you by keeping you away these 2 days. There are battles you didn't see, traps you didn't detect, and warfare you weren't prepared for. So heaven stepped in and said, not now, not today. Like this message, if your spirit is bearing witness right now. Subscribe if you know this word is confirmation. Drop your city and time in the comments. Let heaven record your obedience across the earth. And to those giving through the link pinned in comment section or super thanks, hear this clearly. Heaven sees your faith. Your seed is not just generosity, it is agreement, and the reward is already in motion. Let's go deeper. There's something profound in the way God works in our lives. We live in a world that often screams for instant gratification. We want things now: success, clarity, open doors, relationships, recognition, provision. But God's ways are not bound by the urgency of our timelines. He doesn't operate within our anxious expectations. His movements are deliberate, His timing sovereign, and often His protection is disguised as delay. To the impatient heart, it may feel like you're being overlooked. To the flesh, it might look like you're stuck or forgotten. But chosen ones, here is the truth. You are not being ignored. You are being insulated by divine wisdom. In His infinite understanding, God sees beyond what you can comprehend. There are doors He won't let you walk through, not because He doesn't want to bless you, but because He loves you too much to expose you to what you're not ready to handle. Like a parent who restrains a child from touching fire or running into danger, God's no or wait is often the loudest expression of His love. The thing you are praying for may not be wrong, but the timing might be. And if you get it too soon, it could cost you your peace, your purpose, or even your soul. That's why what looks like delay is often divine protection in disguise. Psalm chapter 31 verse 15 says, "My times are in your hands." That's not just a poetic phrase, it's a declaration of trust. It means your seasons, your progress, your purpose, and even your pauses are all held securely in the hands of the Almighty. So when God closes a door, slows you down, or reroutes your steps, it's not punishment, it's preservation. It's the unseen mercy of a God who knows the end from the beginning. Trust His timing, rest in His pace. Because when He finally opens the door, it will be the right door, in the right season, and you will be ready to walk through it with power, clarity, and peace. Obedience is often misunderstood. It is not simply about following a list of divine instructions or religious rules. True obedience is about alignment, bringing your heart, your will, and your decisions into sync with the heartbeat of God. It's about trusting His voice, even when you don't understand His plan. Obedience creates a spiritual covering, a protective boundary that places you under the shelter of the Most High. When you obey, you're not just complying, you are stepping into a zone of supernatural security, clarity, and favor. It becomes a spiritual positioning that invites heaven's backing and blocks the enemy's access. Let's look at Noah as a powerful example. In a world filled with wickedness, corruption, and chaos, God gave Noah a specific instruction: build an ark. At the time, there was no sign of rain, no visible reason to prepare for a flood. The people around him likely mocked him, laughed at the absurdity, and dismissed his obedience as foolishness. But Noah wasn't moved by the crowd. He was moved by the command. He obeyed because he trusted the one who spoke. His obedience wasn't rooted in logic. It was rooted in faith. Every hammer, every nail, every beam of wood was an act of prophetic preparation for what others couldn't see. Now think about this. What if Noah had hesitated? What if he had delayed, compromised, or walked away from the instruction? He and his family would have been swept away by the flood, just like the rest of the world. The ark wasn't just a boat, it was a divine strategy for preservation. And this is where it connects to your life. God's instructions to you might seem strange, uncomfortable, or inconvenient, but your obedience is building something. You may not see the storm yet, but God does. And through obedience, He is constructing your covering. He is preparing you, positioning you, and protecting you. Never underestimate the power of obeying God. It could be the very thing that saves your life and opens the door to your next divine assignment. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you were supposed to be somewhere else, doing something else, fulfilling a calling that burns deep within, but instead you find yourself stuck, waiting, unsure of why nothing is moving? Have you ever cried out, asking why God seems to take so long to answer, to act, to open the door? The answer is found in the divine rhythm of His timing. God doesn't operate on our human clocks. His pace is perfect, even when it feels slow to us. We rush, but God prepares. We panic, but God plans. Sometimes the waiting is not a punishment, it's a process. A divine process that shapes you, humbles you, matures you, and equips you for the weight of what's coming. We see this clearly in the life of Joseph. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years for a crime he didn't commit, Joseph's journey looked nothing like a fast track to greatness. But every delay, every pit, every prison cell was part of God's plan. During those hidden years, God was building something inside Joseph that power could not give him: character, wisdom, patience, forgiveness. Without that process, Joseph might have mishandled the influence that was coming. The dream he had as a young boy required more than a vision. It required the depth of a man who had been tested and proven. That's what the delay produced in him. And when the moment finally came, Joseph wasn't just elevated, he was ready. In the same way, your waiting season is not meaningless. It may feel like you're standing still, but in the Spirit, God is moving. He's shaping you, hiding you, preparing you, not just for the promise, but for the pressure that comes with it. Some doors haven't opened yet, not because you're disqualified, but because God loves you too much to send you unprepared. He's protecting you not only from the wrong places, but from the wrong timing. Waiting doesn't mean God has forgotten you. It means He's investing in you. So don't curse the delay. Don't despise the silence. Embrace it as divine preparation. For when God moves, He does it suddenly. And when your time comes, everything will align in a way that makes sense only in hindsight. Trust the process. God is never late. God sometimes displaces us from relationships, environments, or opportunities that to us seemed good, sometimes even perfect. It can feel confusing and painful when doors close without explanation, or when we're led away from something we deeply desired. We question, we grieve, and we wonder if we missed it. But the truth is, God sees what we cannot see. What looks like loss may actually be divine protection. He isn't trying to punish you, He's preserving you. That sudden disconnection, that unexpected closed door, that painful goodbye, it could be God saving you from something that would have wounded your destiny or delayed your purpose. Consider the life of David. When King Saul turned against him, David was forced to flee from the very palace where he once served. He hid in caves, wandered through wilderness, and endured long seasons of uncertainty. It would have been easy for David to feel forgotten or forsaken. But God had not abandoned him. He was protecting him. David's time in hiding wasn't wasted. It was shaping him. Each step of displacement became a tool of refinement, preparing David not just to wear the crown, but to carry the weight of leadership with humility and wisdom. The very things that looked like setbacks were, in reality, divine setups for his elevation. In your life, chosen ones, the same truth applies. The people who walked away, the job you didn't get, the plan that suddenly crumbled, it's not rejection, it's redirection. You are not losing, you are being repositioned. God is moving you out of environments that would limit you, out of connections that would hinder you, and out of places that can no longer carry the weight of your calling. Do not despise the displacement. What feels like instability is actually divine strategy. He is taking you the long way, not to punish you, but to protect you and prepare you for the throne He has already reserved in your name. Trust the move. God knows exactly what He's doing. Here's where it gets deeply transformational. Obedience and protection are not just casually connected, they are spiritually intertwined. Every time you choose to obey God's voice, you place yourself under the covering of His divine protection. Obedience creates a pathway that heaven honors. You don't have to strive, scheme, or fight for your own safety when you're walking in step with God's instructions. His guidance may not always be comfortable, and it may not always make immediate sense, but it will always lead you to safety. The safest place on earth is not a physical location, it is wherever God has told you to be. Consider the Israelites in the wilderness. God led them out of Egypt with no roadmap, no 5-step strategy, no human expertise. They followed a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night, visible signs of divine guidance. And though they faced danger, hunger, confusion, and an enemy army closing in behind them, their obedience kept them under God's protection. When Pharaoh's army tried to overtake them, it wasn't their strength that saved them. It was the power of God responding to their trust. The Red Sea parted not because they fought, but because they followed. They didn't have to defend themselves. They simply had to obey the last instruction. In your own life, chosen ones, God is asking for that same depth of trust. Stop trying to force your way through life's obstacles. Stop manipulating situations or rushing through divine processes. When God says, wait, it's not to hurt you, it's to hold you. When He says, no, it's not rejection, it's redirection wrapped in protection. You may not see what's on the other side yet, but if you remain obedient, He will lead you safely through. Don't underestimate the power of walking in obedience. It's not just about doing the right thing. It's about stepping into a divine shield. Keep walking, keep trusting, and know this: every step of obedience is a step deeper into the covering of God's hand. The concept of divine protection can sometimes be difficult to grasp, especially when it comes in forms we don't expect, like delay, denial, or redirection. We often associate God's protection with open doors, immediate answers, and smooth paths. But more often than not, His protection shows up in silence, in closed doors, in the unsettling pause between prayer and fulfillment. Why? Because God sees beyond our vision. He knows the traps that have been set, the wrong turns that look right, and the people who wear masks. What you see as a missed opportunity, God sees as a hidden threat. What you perceive as stagnation, He sees as strategic delay. And so, when He says not yet or no, it is not because He's withholding something good. It's because He's shielding you from something harmful. Take Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. In His moment of agony, knowing the suffering that lay ahead, He prayed a deeply human and divine prayer. Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Matthew chapter 26, verse 39. It was a cry for another way, a plea for the pain to be spared. And yet, heaven was silent. The Father's response was no. But that no wasn't abandonment. It was alignment with the greater plan. The cross was not just a place of suffering. It was the pathway to resurrection, redemption, and victory. Without the no in Gethsemane, there would be no salvation at Calvary. What looked like unanswered prayer was, in fact, the greatest act of divine protection and purpose the world has ever known. In the same way, chosen ones, God's delay or denial in your life is not to harm you. It's to protect the call on your life. It's a safeguard, a holy interruption, a divine rerouting towards something far greater than you can imagine. That relationship that ended, that job that slipped away, that door that slammed shut. It may have hurt, but it didn't harm you. It saved you. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll see that what felt like disappointment was actually deliverance. God doesn't just want to bless you, He wants to protect you while doing it. So trust His timing, trust His number. Because behind every divine delay is a promise still unfolding. Chosen ones, you are in the hands of a loving Father who protects you with the fiercest, most intentional love. When God removes people, places, or opportunities from your life, it's not to harm you, it's to preserve the greatness He has placed within you. The closed doors you're facing are not signs of rejection, they are divine shields. What feels like denial is actually protection in motion. God sees the long road, the hidden traps, and the spiritual warfare you cannot see. So when He says no or causes delays, it is not because you are being punished. It is because He is preserving your destiny. Trust in His timing, trust in His wisdom, and know that nothing He withholds is ever meant to rob you, but to rescue you. God's protection doesn't always look like what we expect. Sometimes it looks like loss. Sometimes it looks like isolation. Sometimes it looks like silence. But even in those quiet, uncertain moments, God is moving. He is shielding you from dangers seen and unseen, protecting you from relationships that would drain you, opportunities that would destroy you, and paths that would derail your calling. That's why obedience is so powerful. When you walk in step with God, you walk under His covering. You may not understand the season you're in, but if you trust Him, you'll discover that His protection is leading you into something far greater than you could ever dream. What's ahead is not ordinary, it's holy. So stay faithful, stay close, stay obedient. Do not let delay discourage you. Do not let silence make you doubt. Heaven is not ignoring you. It is working for you. You are not waiting in vain. Every moment of stillness is divine preparation. Every closed door is divine protection. You are being shielded, shaped, and positioned for the fullness of the purpose God has placed on your life. Keep trusting. Keep moving forward. Because when God finally opens the right door, you'll see that it was worth every moment of the wait.